Hey girl, hey, it's me, Amber D, and thank you so much for coming through for another video. If you haven't already, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. All right, girl. So we are just about ready to get into some 2024 vibes, and I don't know about you, but I'm excited. I'm ready to get in and hit the ground running. And for the past few weeks, I've been prepping and getting ready, and I just thought I would come on here and share with you what I've been doing to get ready for 2024. So for me, particularly, my birthday is about 6 weeks before the new year starts. So that's kind of when I start my prep for the new year. I give myself that 6 week window. Um, Especially this year, like turning 40, I did a whole 6 month prep, road to 40, just to kind of make sure I'm going into this new chapter in a really, really good place. So I was kind of doing prep for this new year since halfway through last year, kind of. But normally, just after my birthday, when we got about 6 weeks, I spend a week or two just kind of doing a brain dump. Just kind of really sitting down thinking about everything that I want to accomplish in the upcoming year, what goals I want to set for myself. And like I said, I do just that. I do a brain dump. So for the past couple of weeks, I've been doing that. I kind of split everything into different categories, and what I want to achieve by the end of the year in each area of my life. So I have, for me specifically, I have them split into personal, finance, um, things for the house, and YouTube. Those are the four areas that I focus most on. So I have goals for each of those areas. When I first started really realizing that, people going into a new year, you're making New Year's resolutions, and I was doing that just like everybody. But when I really realized that the resolution thing wasn't really working for me, it wasn't getting me, at the end of that year that I made those resolutions, I was no closer to being the person I wanted to be. I was no closer to even meeting those resolutions. I wasn't even really picking resolutions from a really mindful place. So it was in 2014, going into that year, because actually I had just turned 30 and at the end of 2013. So going into 2014, I was like, you know what, I'm not doing resolutions this year. I picked 12 goals for myself, and I picked each month for each one of those goals, and I wanted to have completed 12 goals for myself by the end of 2014. And I just kind of thought about it as goals more than resolutions. It's kind of sort of the same thing, but for me, not really. So, I had it written down. I had my list. This month I'm going to do this month I'm going to do this. And every month as I was checking those goals off, I noticed that my confidence was going up. Like with each check, my confidence was rising with each month that I was able to check that goal off. And at the end of the month, having checked off all 12 goals, that was really like a kickoff for me to build my self-confidence, and then leading to unconditional love for myself. I mean, there was a lot of work in between, but that 2014 year, like really being able to check off all 12 of those goals, that was really big for me. So, I kind of took that into the next few years. The next 2 or 3 years, I did the same thing. I had a goal for myself every month. And, as I'm checking those goals off, some of the goals were bigger, some of the goals were smaller, but I was keeping myself busy with, bettering myself every month. So at the end of 2014, at the end of 2015, at the end of 2016, like every year was better and better and better. And then in 2017, we bought our house, and then, life was getting really good. But it was because, I was setting these goals for myself. Like I said, some big, some small, but I was actively working towards bettering myself. And I didn't kind of really look at every year going into resolutions. It was just a revolving cycle of me, finding a goal, having an actual plan for myself, a plan for my life, and really having the confidence in myself to stick to it, even when it got hard, even when I really didn't want to. And I noticed that in that, while doing that, I was creating habits for myself. If I needed to complete this goal by this time, that meant I had to do A, B, and C. And sometimes I had to do A every single day. Sometimes I had to do B once a week. It was different things, but I was creating habits for myself. And within that, it just kind of elevated Amber D as a person. And all I was doing was just trying to check these goals off the list. And I realized, how everything was working together for the greater good. And then I started to focus on that. So with my little brain dump, I have this. This is literally just a picture frame that I have. I have post-it notes on it, as you can see. At the top are my it's YouTube, house, finances, and personal. And then these are my goals. These were my goals that I had completed for the last quarter. And this year, well, I mean, it was kind of in similar. I had that, like, this was, October, November, December. So I kind of had goals each month for each area of my life. And this year, I'm doing the same thing, but as far as this little frame goes, I'm just gonna have on here my quarterly goals. And yes, I am drinking my my favorite tangerine mango water. Anyway, so I cleaned all of 2023 off of the frame, and I already wrote out my little um categories up top. Was house there? I don't think house was there. I don't think it matters. Okay. House and finances, and then YouTube, and then personal. And I'm just gonna go in with these post-its. And I'll have 4 for each, one for Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 for each category. And then as I complete each one, I'll either just check them off or I'll just take it off altogether. I might just check it off so I can see my completed goals left there instead of just taking them away altogether. That's what I did last year. But yeah, I'm gonna just transfer over. This is my brain dump into I did a brain dump and then I switched it into different categories and then I did them like in order what I want to have done for Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4, and then that's the order I'm gonna put them in on here. And then as I complete each goal each quarter that are here, I'll check them off with my little gold metallic Sharpie. That's what I wrote my categories in. And then I'm just gonna write my actual goal. Well, I guess I could still use it. No, because that's what I like to check them off with. So I'll write these with a pen for each goal. But yeah, once I started doing this, I can honestly say that's when I saw a shift in myself. Like my 30s, I didn't complete every single goal, every single month, every single quarter. But at the end of every year, was I better off having done this? Absolutely. Am I better off now having started doing this 10 years ago than where I would be had I not? I honestly believe yes. Yes, I am better off. And normally, I'm very much the planner. I've always liked to have a plan, to be working on a plan, to be in the middle of a plan. That's just always has been what works for me. I've always been very organized that way. And I've always liked to have things down on paper. I like to write them down. I like to have planners that I work on that I keep up with throughout the year. But I've noticed, like, in these past 2 or 3 years, I've just kind of naturally been easing away from that. Like, I've still been doing all the things that I write down in the planner or, on my calendar, but I would have to go back and catch myself up and check everything off that I was doing because I was still doing it, but I was kind of easing away from everything that I was writing down. I still do the brain dump and all those types of things, but I don't have to have this is my quarterly goals versus my monthly goals. And I noticed that I was having to go back in. I was doing it later. I was, writing everything in later or checking everything off later because I just wasn't so much into the physically writing anything anymore, even though that's kind of how I've always been. But I understand that, you can say the same thing about toxic traits. When you just do something and you just do it because that's how you've always been, whether it's good or bad for you. If you don't want to be doing it anymore, if you don't need to be doing it anymore, you don't have to be doing it anymore. Especially if you found something that still works for you otherwise. All right, so this is the finished product. This is what we are looking like. As you can see, I have, oh, I blurred it. You have house, finances, YouTube, and personal. So some I'll share, of course, as the year goes on. As I'm vlogging, you'll see the goals that I'm working on, the goals that I'm accomplishing. But with this being 2024, this is this century's Kobe year. So I'm definitely taking full advantage of the 2024 aspect of this upcoming year. I'm a big Kobe fan anyway. So I'm looking at this is my mama year. This is my Kobe year. It's the first year of my 40s, so I'm going to take full advantage of the momentum that I have created with my Road to 40 series. Everything that I've been working on going into these last 6 weeks from my birthday going into 2024. I've kind of been working on knowing what goals I want to accomplish, what goals I'm going to be working on this first quarter, and throughout the year. I've kind of been already focusing on what my routines need to look like in order for me to reach those goals, the things that I need to do daily, the things that I need to do weekly and monthly, and what my schedule, what my daily routines need to look like going into the new year. So this past few weeks, I've already been working on what my morning routine needs to look like, what my after work routine needs to look like. And I've kind of been playing around with those routines and kind of tweaking them as I go, what's not working, what needs to be moved from morning to evening, or whatever the case may be, but what I need to do to keep myself on track to complete these goals, because one thing I'm not going to do is let mama down. The great Kobe Bryant, we are not letting him down. So if I'm going to claim this as my Kobe year, then I have to make it a good one. So that's actually going to be my next series. It'll be my Kobe year series. So every month, next year, I'm going to be showing you what particular goal I was working on and what I did to complete it and how that's getting me to being the best possible me that I can be and the next greatest version of myself by the end of the year. So that's how I've been prepping for this upcoming year. I highly recommend you figure out something that works for you. It don't have to look like what I do. In addition to this, I have different things on my phone to help me with my monthly goals. I really like Trello, and then of course just my Google Calendar. I have a lot of things in there that gives me alerts when I'm supposed to be doing things, so that helps me to keep me on track. But I like this for my quarterly goals, since I do physically like to have something written down, and I can have something that I can check off, that I can physically look over and see, and I have to go check my phone, but I can see that I'm progressing throughout the year and that I'm getting better and getting closer to just being a better Amber D. Like Kobe said, be legendary. Whatever that means for you. It don't have to mean, being one of the greatest basketball players ever. Whatever that means for you. Success means different for everybody. It looks like, success looks different for everybody. So I know what that looks like for me. I know the goals that I've set for myself. I'm also, to the point where I know to give myself grace, when I need to change it up and switch it up, or maybe switch to plan B or C, as long as you keep moving, as long as you don't give up on yourself. Ultimately, that's the goal, to keep growing, to keep learning, to keep getting better. And that's exactly what I plan to do. But all right, girl, that is it for me. I'm going to go ahead and end this video here. If you haven't already, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you in the next one.